Welcome to Blood Runs Cold, the channel where horror fans gather to explore the darkest corners of the world. If you crave disturbing stories, chilling visuals, or unforgettable nightmares, you've just found your new favorite haunt. Story 1, September 3rd, 2009. I never liked September. The days grew shorter, shadows longer, and the air carried the faint smell of something rotting under the earth. But September 3rd, 2009, carved itself into me like a scar. It began with the phone call. My cousin Danny, frantic, begging me to drive out to the old family farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania. He said something about noises in the walls, about seeing our grandfather's rocking chair moving on its own. I laughed at first. Danny had a taste for melodrama. But when his voice cracked and he whispered, "It's in the basement again," something inside me twisted cold. The drive took hours. By the time I arrived, twilight had settled. The fields painted a dull rust beneath a swollen harvest moon. The farmhouse stood sagging and pale against the horizon. The windows reflected nothing but black. Danny met me at the porch, pale and twitching. He didn't hug me, didn't even say hello, just muttered, "It's worse after sundown." Inside, the air was thick, damp, as if the walls themselves sweated. Every creak of the floorboards echoed louder than it should have. We sat in the living room. The rocking chair, our grandfather's, was angled toward the hallway. It rocked slowly, though no one touched it. I wanted to dismiss it as drafts, but there was no breeze, just a rhythmic sway as though something unseen lounged in it, waiting. Danny insisted we go to the basement. I resisted, but he swore I had to see. The basement door groaned when he opened it, releasing a stench of mildew and iron. We descended, flashlight beams cutting through the darkness. The basement had always terrified me as a child. Low ceiling, stone walls, old tools rusting on hooks. In the far corner, something dark stained the wall. At first, I thought it was water damage, but when I shined the light directly, the stain pulsed, wet, glistening like something alive pressing from the other side. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. Danny grabbed my arm. "It talks at night," he whispered. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every tick of the clock seemed louder, every gust of wind like a whisper through the cracks. At 3:09 a.m., I woke to footsteps above me. Not Danny's. Heavy, dragging. Then the rocking chair creaked again, though we were both in bed. I told myself I imagined it. I told myself September makes fools of us all. But when morning came, Danny was gone. His bed empty, sheets twisted. No sign of struggle. Just the basement door standing wide open. I never found him. The police dismissed it as a runaway, said Danny probably left during the night. But I know the truth. I still dream of that basement corner, of the stain that pulsed like a second heartbeat, and every September 3rd I hear the chair creak again, though I live hundreds of miles away. Story 2, September 14th, 2017. I was working the late shift at the university library that night, September 14th, 2017. The students had just returned for the semester, but the building was nearly empty, only the sound of humming lights and the occasional shuffle of books on the return cart. Around 11 p.m., a storm rolled in. Rain lashed against the tall windows. Thunder rattled the panes. I was about to close up when I noticed a figure in the far corner of the reading room. A woman, head bowed, hair hanging in a curtain. I hadn't seen her come in. The library was closing in 5 minutes. I approached, rehearsing my polite, "We're closing for the night." But when I reached her table, the chair was empty. No woman, just an open book. I swear it hadn't been there moments earlier. The book was old, its leather cracked, its pages yellowed. No title on the spine. I flipped it open. The words were handwritten, looping, and archaic. The first line read, She waits by the shelves after midnight. Do not meet her eyes. I laughed nervously and closed it. Probably some student's creative writing project. I placed the book on the return cart and locked up. But as I stepped into the storm, a flash of lightning illuminated the glass doors behind me. In the reflection, the woman stood inside, hair dripping, face pale, staring after me. That night, sleep eluded me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her reflection in the glass, her face blurring with the rain. I convinced myself it was stress, that I had imagined it, until I returned to work the next evening. The book was waiting on the desk. I hadn't brought it back. My coworker swore he hadn't seen it. Same cracked leather, same looping script. This time, a new line had appeared. She followed you home. My hands shook as I shoved it into a drawer, determined to forget it. But as the clock struck midnight, I heard footsteps in the empty aisles. Slow, deliberate. I hid behind the desk, holding my breath. The lights flickered. In the brief dark, I heard pages fluttering, as if every book in the library had opened at once. When the lights steadied, the woman stood at the far end of the room. I couldn't see her eyes through the veil of wet hair, but I felt them lock onto me. I bolted for the exit, not daring to look back. I quit the library the next day, packed up and left town within the week. But sometimes when I enter a bookstore or pass a shelf of old volumes, I hear the faint rustle of pages. And once, last September 14th, I caught my reflection in a shop window. Behind me, just for a second, she stood there again. Story 3, September 27th, 2022. I should have ignored the classified ad. Caretaker needed. Remote cabin. Good pay. But I was broke, desperate, and September in the mountains sounded peaceful. September 27th, 2022, was the day I moved in. I thought it would be easy. Chop wood, keep the generator running, maybe fend off the occasional raccoon. I was wrong. The cabin sat deep in the forest, miles from the nearest road. The owner, a gray-haired man with eyes that never quite met mine, handed me the keys and a notebook. Write down what you hear. Every night. No matter what, his voice shook. I thought he was senile. I laughed, told him I'd keep a journal. He didn't laugh back. The first 2 nights were uneventful. Crickets, owls, the groan of trees in the wind. I dutifully scribbled notes in the log, wondering if I'd stumbled into the easiest job of my life. On the 3rd night, just after midnight, I heard it. A knock. Not on the door, but from inside the walls. 3 sharp raps. I froze, pen hovering over paper. Then silence. I told myself it was the cabin settling. Wrote it down anyway. The knocks came again the next night, louder, closer, always 3. I pounded the walls, found nothing. No hollow spots, no crawl spaces, just solid timber. Yet the knocking persisted. By September 30th, it had moved to the bedroom walls. I barely slept, scribbling frantic notes as the sound circled me. On October 2nd, it changed. Not knocks this time, but whispers. Low, hissing, threading through the wood like wind. My name, over and over. I pressed my ear to the wall and felt the vibration of lips that weren't there. I wanted to leave, but the road had washed out in the rain. My phone had no signal. I was trapped, the notebook filled with my scrawled terror. They know I'm here. They don't want me to sleep. On the night of October 5th, the whispers rose to screams. The walls shook. Splinters rained from the ceiling. I curled on the floor, covering my ears, but the voices pressed into my skull. Then, suddenly, silence. When I opened my eyes, the notebook lay open beside me. A new entry had appeared in handwriting that wasn't mine. You've written enough. Now it's our turn. I fled at dawn, leaving everything behind. The cabin, the notebook, the job. I never went back. But sometimes, when I lie awake at night, I swear I hear 3 knocks against my bedroom wall. September is coming again, and I don't think it will let me go.